Hey everyone, it's Asha and welcome back to Reading with Asha. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a fall book recommendation slash my fall TBR. So I have a whole bunch of book recommendations that I feel like give off fall vibes or they're spooky and just a good time to read them. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Comment down below if you are ready for fall already. I personally love fall and I also really love summer. I think that they're tied for me because there's so many beautiful things that come along with fall, but at the same time, I feel like the sunshine fuels me. So right now, I am not ready whatsoever to give up the summer. I don't have my house decorated for fall or anything like that. I just can't be like that right now. But you best believe that once it hits September 22nd, I will be decorating my entire house. I will be decorating this bookcase and I'll be reading all the fall books. I am reading some fall books right now for sure. Nothing else in my life is giving off fall vibes. Like, it's nice and sunny and hot outside. There's no different colors changing on the trees, which I feel like is a huge thing of fall, obviously. So yeah, it's not getting chilly or anything, but it is really, really nice out recently, which I love this little period in between fall and summer because it's just so pretty. But yeah, I'm definitely ready. I'm definitely excited for fall, but I'm not quite ready to give up my summer yet. But with that all being said, I want to say that obviously if you have your whole room decked out in Halloween decor, fall decor, whatever you want, do whatever makes you happy. I don't care what you do, you know what I mean? That's just how I am. But I'm going to be giving you guys all my fall book recommendations because I know so many people are ready for it right now. I have a variety of different books that I would recommend. I'll kind of tell you why. I'm not going to go into a detailed synopsis of each book because it definitely is a lot of books, but I will try to tell you the tropes if that's something that will pull you in. So first things first, I have a book that I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is also a TV show on Hulu, I believe, and I read this book last summer, but I definitely think it gives off fall vibes because there is like a boarding school. I think it's a boarding school. To me, going back to school is a fall thing, so it gives off that, but there's also a lot of mystery elements to it, and the main character, they love to read, they love to do all these things. It's definitely a cozy book that also gives you that mystery element that I feel like you're looking for in fall. So I think this is a really, really cute, fun book. There are 3 main characters. So that's the first book. Next book is actually a trilogy now because the 3rd one just came out, but that's the Inheritance Games trilogy. I only read the first 2. I don't have the 3rd one yet. But the reason that I feel like this gives off fall vibes is because it's a mystery and it's not anything scary, but it is so much mystery in a game almost. I just think it's so fun to read, and I think fall would be a great time to read it, or winter, because you can just stay inside and literally binge this once it gets cooler. But I will give a little bit of a synopsis about this one because this first one here, the synopsis of it intrigued me. I'm the type of person who likes to go into a book completely blind as long as someone recommends it and it's not anything that's too scary or a genre that I really don't read, then I will read it. But for this one, the synopsis completely drew me in because it's about a girl who basically has nothing, and then one day she goes to school and they pull her down to the office and she finds out that she won an inheritance from some guy that she doesn't even know. Come to find out that she literally gets billions of dollars and she doesn't know why, and the family doesn't know why, and they're all trying to figure it out, and people are mad at her, and it just becomes this huge mystery which continues in the 2nd book. And there's also some subplots of romance in there, which people have their opinions on which team they are because there's 2 main boys that the romance goes between. It's Jameson and Grayson, I believe, but I don't even know what team I am, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, the next one I literally read the other day, and I just feel like for some reason it just gives off such good fall vibes. Fantasy to me equals fall vibes or winter. Hard for me to read fantasy in the summertime, I want to say, but this one especially, so good. I literally read it so quickly, and that is These Hollow Vowels by Lexi Ryan. I am obsessed with this. I literally, like I said a million times, I flew through this, and I am more than halfway through the 2nd one right now, which I have sitting over there, which is These Twisted Bonds. but if you are going to get into fantasy and you don't like books that have too much smut, just a little bit of spice, this will be the perfect thing, because I think that Lexi Rhyme really explains the worlds really good. The world building isn't too hard to understand for someone who might just be getting into fantasy or who hasn't read a lot of it before. And I just absolutely love this book. The romance is so good, and it is a love triangle, which I hate. So I will tell you right now, I am not a fan of love triangles, but when I was reading this, it didn't even feel like that. But it's so hard to choose. It is so hard to choose for me right now. So I don't know, but I just absolutely love this book, and I love the second one too so far. I feel like it's gonna be a 5-star read, so I definitely recommend this one for fall. For some reason, the cover just gives off fall vibes itself. Like, I don't know why. I guess the colors, the red, the dark yellow, whatever, it just gives off fall vibes, but I was obsessed with that. Another kind of type of book that I feel like gives off fall vibes is Greek mythology. Well, retellings of Greek mythology. I personally wasn't a huge Greek mythology fan before I read The Song of Achilles over a year ago, but once I read that, I did not know hardly anything about Greek mythology, and I just completely dove into it. And then I got sent on a wormhole. So the next Greek mythology book that I read after The Song of Achilles and Circe, which are both by the same author, Madeline Miller, which are both good books to read in fall too, Circe for sure, is Ariadne, and this is by Jennifer Saint. I absolutely love this book. The cover itself, again, giving off fall vibes because of the oranges and the fall colors, but this book is so good. So if you don't know, Circe has a sister whose name is Pasiphae. I don't think I'm saying her name right at all, but this is her daughter. And if you want to know a little interesting story that has to do with Pasiphae, in Circe you learn about how she sleeps with this bull, and you don't know why she did it or anything unless you already know the Greek mythology of it, but you learn about it in this. And then after she sleeps with the bull, she gets impregnated with the Minotaur, who a lot of people know what that is. It's like the half beast, half human things who eats a bunch of humans and kills a bunch of kids. And this is the sister of the Minotaur. So a lot of crazy stuff happens in this book, but I definitely think that this is a really good read for fall time. I think I read it last winter, but I don't know. Something about cozying up with this book in the fall with a fire going in front of you, not like your house or anything, but you know, like a fire outside, is just such a good idea. A fireplace maybe, I don't know, it sounds so perfect to me. Fall time is definitely the best time to have fires at nighttime. Okay, next up we have kind of an obvious one, and that is November 9th by Colleen Hoover. Obviously November is fall. You know, right around this time though, I am getting a little bit excited for Christmas, I must say, but this is a really fun one. Obviously Colleen Hoover wrote it, so it's beloved everywhere because she is such an incredible writer. I flew through this. I actually read it last year on November 9th, and I finished it that day, blocked out my schedule just so I could read it on November 9th. But it definitely has a lot of good fall vibes, and it's about these two people who meet in a really weird way. This girl, her name is Fallon, and she's at this cafe with her dad, and her dad's basically going off on her about her life choices, and then this guy comes in and pretends that he's her boyfriend and is kind of like defending her, and then they quickly like each other, kind of an insta-love type of thing, and then they decide to meet every year on November 9th, no matter what. You find out a lot of things in this book, and there's plot twists literally right off the bat, but the ending is crazy. And then for a more type of thriller book, I would recommend One of Us is Lying. If you are interested in mystery and thrillers, but you're not into like super scary, I personally don't really like scary books or super gory kind of murder mysteries. I think that this is the perfect in between, and it's also based in a high school, so like I said, school to me equals fall vibes. But yeah, this is a great book. I went through this book so quickly last year when I read it, and there's also a second book which is very good too, which is called One of Us is Next, and I read that in the fall time too. But this is also a TV show on Peacock, which is good, but they definitely changed the story a lot, but it's still very interesting for people who haven't read the book. I totally recommend this book though, still to this day, even though it came out a little while ago and people aren't as hyped up about it. I think it's a really great book for fall if you're kind of into that genre. Okay, so next up we have this beautiful series right here, which is the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, or Maas, never know if I'm saying that correctly. I love the series. I read it at the end of last winter, which I feel like it would have been such a good read in fall or in the middle of winter, because there's so many different aspects to this series that I just think give off fall vibes, and I just think fantasy in general gives off that vibe. I know I've said vibe 10 million times in this video, but I absolutely love this series. I think that the world building in this series is a little bit difficult to understand for people who maybe haven't read fantasy at all. You kind of just have to pretend that you know exactly what is going on even if you don't, and then it will kind of make sense, which doesn't make sense at all. That's what I did with this, but I think like the books that I just talked about, these Hollow Vows and these Twisted Bonds, would be a good starter, and then you can get into this, because I read this before and I read that after, and everything just connects and makes sense because they are very, very similar. A lot of people compare these Hollow Vows to ACOTAR mixed with The Cruel Prince, which I have not read The Cruel Prince, but I definitely think that these Hollow Vows gives off a little bit of a Selection vibe. So if you've read the Selection series, it's just a mixture of all my favorite things. But anyways, we're not even talking about that series, but yeah, I really like this series. I'd highly recommend it. Very smutty books though. If you are not a fan of spice, you might not like it, or you could just skip over it. I think everything else is really, really good about it though, so I wouldn't just not read it just because if you're not a fan of spice, but I really recommend this series, so I hope you read it, and if you do, let me know how you like it. A little romance I would recommend for fall is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I actually say that this is more of a end of fall kind of thing, November-ish type of fall book, because a lot of it takes place in like a cozy winter Christmassy cabin, so it would give you a good exciting Christmas vibe too, I guess. This is a really cute romance which is childhood friends to lovers, and it's about a couple who meets when they're kids, and they get this little relationship going when they're kids. They fall in love, and then they don't talk to each other for like 11 years or something, so it's going back to then and now, and then is when they were falling in love, and now is when they haven't talked to each other in such a long time, but they have to meet again. This is definitely a really fun read with a big kind of revealing plot twist at the end, but I definitely recommend this if you like a little romance book. This is gonna be perfect for you. I would also recommend a lot of Colleen Hoover's books for fall reads, specifically It Ends With Us. I read that last fall, and if you're gonna read that, just know that the sequel is coming out, I think in October. Definitely something to read this fall. And I also have some recommendations that are not physical copies that I read on my Kindle or somewhere else, but I'm gonna share those with you right now. The first one is probably the ultimate fall vibe in general altogether, and that is The Ex-Hex. I believe it's by Aaron Sterling. This book is so freaking good for fall. I literally read this I think a couple of days before Halloween, and that was just the perfect time to read it because of all the amazing Halloween vibes. It's a very witchy little book. It's like a witchy romance, and I just think it's the perfect little fall book. It's so cute, and it's a romance, so if you like fall, you like romance, this is gonna be the perfect book for you. Take my word for it. Another really good romance I would recommend that gives off some fall vibes, it's One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I don't have this with me right now because I'm loaning it to my older sister, but I love this book. I think right off the bat in the first 30 pages there was some fall descriptions going on of autumn and falling leaves. I can vividly remember that, but this one is also kind of really crazy. I'll give you the synopsis for it because I know that this will suck a lot of people in. So basically it's about this girl, I don't remember her name, so please don't be mad at me for that, who has this high school sweetheart. They get married. He goes on a little trip, I think to Alaska, and the helicopter crashes. Everyone thinks that he died in this helicopter crash. She hasn't heard from him in many years. Fast forward a few years, she has met this new guy. She's engaged. She's got this whole new life going, and this man calls her up and is like, hey, I'm alive. And she's like, what? And she thinks it's a joke. So now she has to figure out, wait, I have like this love and I'm literally about to get married, but I have my high school sweetheart. What am I gonna do? And it's a really good book. I think I rated it at 5 stars. I just think there's so many great quotes in that book in general. I just love that book, so I would highly recommend that one for fall. I also forgot about this book, but this is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book has an insane plot twist. This is one of the books that got me back into reading, and I think fall would be a perfect time to read it because it is a mystery, but it's kind of creepy and a little bit disturbing. So if you hate that type of book, or if you're by yourself all the time and you're scared to read something like that, I would not recommend it. But I think it's really, really good. It's about this girl who goes missing, and her mom is trying to put her life back together and stuff, and she goes and meets this guy, and then before she knows it, she meets his kids, and his youngest daughter, Poppy, looks pretty similar to her daughter who went missing. So they're trying to figure out kind of what the heck happened there. I thought for a long time in this book that her missing daughter was Poppy, but that wouldn't make sense because then she would have aged. But it's a really, really crazy story that you're just wondering the entire time what happened, and I flew through this entire thing, but it was disturbing, so just beware of that. Now let's get into my fall TBR. So I know this video is super long so far, but I hope you guys like it. Anyways, first book in my fall TBR is gonna be Pumpkinheads. This is by Rainbow Rowell. This is a graphic novel, and it just looks so fun. Just for when I'm eating something quick and easy to get through, I think this will be perfect. It's literally called Pumpkinheads, so it definitely seems like a fall book to me, and I really want to read it, and it just looks fun. I was looking for more graphic novels after I finished Heartstopper, so that's why I got this. Next up, I have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is a mystery thriller book. I saw Haley Pham read this, and she's not a big fan of really scary books either, so I took her recommendation. She really liked this book, so I took her recommendation and bought it, and I'm planning on reading it this fall because it's a thriller, and I just feel like a thriller is a good book to read in the fall because before Halloween, you guys get what I'm saying. I know you do. Also, before I forget, I want to mention a couple of books that I don't have yet and some that are on my Kindle Unlimited. So the first book I want to read that's on my Kindle Unlimited is The Other Women, which is a thriller book, which I think it's about a girl and her husband or her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's mom is like obsessed with him and would do anything to get rid of this girlfriend, I'm pretty sure. So that sounded very interesting to me. The next book is Every Last Secret, which is also a thriller because I just want to read a little bit more thrillers, but I'm not a big thriller fan because they creep me out a lot. But Haley Pham also read that and said that it wasn't that creepy, so I'm taking her word for it. I also want to read The Kiss Curse, which I'm pretty sure is by the same author as The Ex-Hex. So I just think this would be a perfect little Halloween vibe, just like the first one was, and I think it'd be a great book to read this fall. I also want to read Payback's a Witch, which is another one that I've heard about that is a good book to read in fall, which I have not read. And From Bad to Curse. So these are all kind of the same concept, I think, like witchy characters, but it's real fun, and there is romances. So those ones look really interesting. And then I also want to read Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I don't know what this book is even about, but I know that so many people love it, so I really want to read it. And I've heard that it's very fun and heartwarming, so I just feel like that's a book that I would love, especially in the fall. A trilogy I want to read this fall is the Cruel Prince trilogy. I only have the first 2 books because I got this on sale for $3 at Books A Million. But I really, really want to read this because I've heard so many good things about it, and I love fantasy books. So I think that this would be a really good one to read, and it's definitely really short. And if the book that I'm reading right now is compared to The Cruel Prince and ACOTAR, if there's aspects of The Cruel Prince in that, I feel like I'll absolutely love this because I love that book. For some reason, fantasy just really connects to fall for me. Next are some books that are on my September TBR specifically. So first things first, we have Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. I got this on sale at Books A Million, have heard so many good things about it. I don't know much about it except that it's supposed to be really, really sad. So should I make a reading vlog reading sad books? I don't know, maybe I will, but that's all I know about this one. Next up, I have a very popular book that I think is perfect for reading in fall, and I think this is going to be the next book that I read, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I'm buddy reading this with one of my best friends, and I'm really excited about it because I've heard so many good things about it, and it gives me a similar vibe to One of Us is Lying. Not too scary, but still a fun little mystery, and I think they're in high school. Yeah, it's about a pretty unpopular high school senior who was murdered by her boyfriend. Okay, that is scary actually, but I am going to be reading it, so hopefully it's good. I know it's going to be good because 20 million people in the entire universe. In the entire universe? No. A lot of people like it. That's the moral of what I'm trying to say. And the last book that I want to read this month is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Clune. My brother's wife recommended this book to me, which is crazy to say because guess what? They just got married. But she said that I would love this book, and she said that it's just such a good, fun, warm book, and I just was like, you know what? That sounds like a book I want to read this fall, and I've had it for a little bit. Also, one of my good friends, Tara, absolutely loves this book. It's one of her favorite books of 2022, so I had to give it a little read, and hopefully I like it. So those are all the recommendations I have for you to read this fall and the books that I want to read this fall. I'm sure that this will change a little bit because new books come out and people recommend new books that I want to read those too. but this is the basic kind of list that I want to stick to. Hopefully I get to all of these, and I'm really, really excited to read them all. So I hope you guys have a really good rest of your weekend, a good week. Whenever you're seeing this video, whatever it may be, I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. When I'm filming this right now, I'm literally like 3 subscribers away from 3,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. It would mean so much to me. And I'm doing a giveaway for 3,000 subscribers over on my Bookstagram, Reading with Asha, so make sure you guys go check it out over there if you're not already following me. But yeah, I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!